The lobby lights hummed faintly above Jordan Pierce as he waited near the glass doors, clutching the slim laptop bag that held everything he'd built for the last 3 years. Morning rain slid down the windows in thin, trembling lines. His keycard wouldn't scan, again. The system always glitched on Mondays. He exhaled, trying not to look frustrated. The elevator dinged somewhere deeper in the building, but the sound was swallowed by another, the sharp, deliberate stomp of boots. Officer Brent Halden pushed through the entrance with the confidence of a man who believed every hallway belonged to him. His gaze landed on Jordan like a searchlight, cold, assessing, narrowing. "You again," he muttered. "Loitering outside private property this early." Jordan blinked. "I work upstairs," he said quietly. Halden stepped closer, palm grazing the radio on his shoulder. "Right. And I'm the mayor." "That's my office," Jordan tried, voice tight, chin lifting a little despite the knot forming in his chest. Halden smirked, tilting his head. His voice carried across the empty lobby. "Kid, people like you don't own anything up there." The words hit harder than the threat of arrest. For a breath, Jordan froze, heat rising in his face, humiliation catching at his throat. His card beeped red again, mocking him. Halden noticed, leaning in with the slow satisfaction of someone certain he had already won. Then, from above, the elevator doors slid open. A voice called Jordan's name. Halden turned sharply, realizing too late that something here didn't match his assumptions. Jordan stepped forward. And the truth was about to surface. Jordan's keycard blinked red for the 3rd time, a tiny beep slicing through the lobby's quiet. "Come on," he muttered under his breath, shifting his laptop bag on his shoulder. The building always reset its system over the weekend, but today the glitch felt personal, like the universe was joining in on the accusation that waited behind him. Boots tapped across the polished floor. "Thought I told you yesterday not to hang around here." Jordan closed his eyes for a second before turning. Officer Halden stood a few feet away, shoulders squared, jaw sharp, one thumb hooked near the radio on his vest. The same stance he used every morning he encountered someone he didn't trust. "I'm not hanging around," Jordan said, voice steady but tight. "My card isn't working." "Convenient." Halden stepped closer. "You got somewhere you're supposed to be." "Upstairs. My office." Halden gave a short laugh. "Your office." Jordan inhaled slowly, willing himself not to swallow the embarrassment. "Yes." Before Halden could reply, the building's property manager, Mr. Kellum, hurried through the side hallway clutching a stack of papers. "Everything all right?" he asked, but he was looking at Halden, not Jordan. Halden pointed at Jordan with his chin. "This kid's trying to get into restricted floors." Jordan's jaw tightened. "I have access. My card isn't scanning." Kellum hesitated. "Well, the system did update this weekend. Maybe his card." Halden cut him off. "You know him." Yes, he's a tenant. Technically." Kellum shuffled his papers nervously. "Technically." Halden repeated, eyes narrowing. Kellum flinched. "I mean he's been here for a while. The startup on 32. Halden scoffed. "Didn't realize we were letting just anyone rent office space now." Jordan felt heat rising in his chest. "Why do you keep talking like I'm trespassing?" "Because you're standing here," Halden snapped, "unable to prove you belong." Jordan lifted his keycard. "This proves it. It's just not scanning." "You heard him," Halden interrupted. "Technically." The silence between them sharpened. Jordan glanced at Kellum, who quickly looked away. Another beep, red again. Halden crossed his arms. "See that? System says no." Jordan exhaled shakily. "Can we call maintenance?" "They're not in yet," Kellum said. "But I can email." Halden stepped even closer, voice low. "Look, kid. I don't know what you're doing here this early, but you're making people uncomfortable." "What people?" Jordan asked. Halden raised a brow. "Me." Jordan's fingers curled around the strap of his bag. "I work here." "You keep saying that," Halden said. "You got ID?" I have my card. My digital passcode is upstairs. Convenient, Halden repeated. Jordan clenched his jaw. Why are you assuming? The elevator dinged. All three turned. The doors slid open, revealing Maya Chen, CTO of Pierce Labs, Jordan's company. She frowned down at them. Jordan, why are you still down here? Jordan opened his mouth, but Halden spoke first. You know him. Maya stepped out. He's the founder. He owns the office upstairs. Halden blinked, expression faltering for the first time. He, what? Maya crossed her arms. Is there a problem? Kellum straightened his papers like a man trying to disappear. There was a card issue. I'll escort him up, Maya said, ignoring Halden entirely. She held out her hand to Jordan. Come on. Jordan walked toward her, but Halden stepped sideways, blocking his path for half a heartbeat. Long enough to send a message, short enough to deny intention. You really expect me to believe? Maya cut him off sharply. Believe whatever you want. But don't harass my CEO. Halden stiffened. I wasn't. Jordan finally met his gaze. I told you I belong here. For 1 second, Halden's jaw worked like he wanted to reply, but no words came. Maya tapped her badge. The elevator doors held open. Let's go. Jordan stepped inside. His stomach still knotted, hands trembling lightly, humiliation clinging to his skin like static. As the doors began to close, Halden stared in, confusion curdling into something uglier, resentment. Jordan didn't flinch this time. The elevator rose, humming softly, carrying him toward the floors he had built, the company he led, and the battle he didn't yet realize was only beginning. The elevator doors slid open onto the 32nd floor, releasing Jordan into the familiar quiet hum of Pierce Labs, his space, his creation, his refuge on good days and his battlefield on others. The open layout office glowed softly under warm lead strips, scattered with whiteboards scribbled in layered equations, desks cluttered with prototypes, and a faint smell of espresso drifting from the shared machine. Maya walked ahead of him. You okay? She asked without turning. No, Jordan admitted quietly. But I'm here. She slowed, studying him with concern softening her eyes. He got under your skin. He always does, Jordan replied. And today he really pushed. A voice rose from behind a monitor. Jordan. It was Andre, their machine learning lead. He stood abruptly. We saw the cameras. Looked tense down there. Jordan forced a half-smile. Nothing new. Andre stepped closer. It looked worse than nothing. Before Jordan could answer, Lila, their UX designer, wheeled her chair over, spinning slightly. Did that officer stop you again? Seriously, Jordan, this is getting out of hand. Maya folded her arms. It is. And we need to talk about it. Jordan held up a hand. Guys, I don't want everyone panicking on a Monday morning. We're not panicking, Lila insisted. We're angry. Andre nodded. And tired of watching you deal with this like it's normal. Jordan's throat tightened. I appreciate you. Really. But I want us to stay focused. We have a product demo tomorrow. Lila sighed, muttering, always about the product with him. Jordan managed a faint laugh. That's why you love me. No, she said dryly. I love your vision. You're a disaster at self-care. Maya cut in. Jordan, you need to file a report. No, Jordan said instantly. Yes, Maya pressed. He's escalating. He's looking for reasons, Jordan murmured. If I file something, he'll double down. Andre frowned. He already doubled down. I saw how close he got to you. Jordan's voice lowered. The building doesn't want trouble. They'll protect him before they protect me. Not necessarily, Maya countered. Jordan shot her a look. Okay, she admitted. Maybe. But you can't just ignore this. Before the argument could grow, the glass conference room door opened, and someone stepped out. Sharp suit, silver cufflinks, mid-50s with measured posture. Mr. Keene. One of their earliest investors. He adjusted his glasses. Jordan. A word. Jordan tensed subtly. Sure. Lila whispered under her breath, investor radar activated. Jordan followed Keen into the conference room, Maya trailing a few steps behind to close the door softly. The room felt larger than usual. Paneled glass, a panoramic view of the city below, sunlight glinting off skyscrapers. Jordan took a seat. Keen remained standing. I caught part of the commotion downstairs, Keen said. Unpleasant business. Jordan swallowed. Yes, sir. Keen clasped his hands behind his back. Visibility brings complications. The higher you rise, the more people question whether you deserve the height. Jordan's jaw tightened. I'm aware. Keen studied him. I don't want your work disrupted. You are the center of this company. But you're also vulnerable in ways your peers are not. Jordan stared at the table, voice nearly a whisper. I know. Good. Keen finally Saturday because you'll need to navigate this carefully. Public scrutiny can damage innovation quicker than competitors can. Maya leaned forward. With respect, Mr. Keen, Jordan didn't start anything. He was harassed. I'm not assigning blame, Keen said calmly. I'm pointing out risk. Risk to whom? Jordan asked. To all of us, Keen replied. Your leadership carries weight. The wrong narrative could destabilize investor confidence. Maya's eyes flashed. So he's supposed to just take it. Keen didn't blink. He is supposed to be strategic. Jordan exhaled slowly. I understand. Keen nodded once. Good. Now, focus on the demo. The board wants results. And take care of yourself. The world is watching more closely than you realize. He stood, ending the conversation. Jordan rose too, shoulders tight. When they left the room, the team pretended not to stare, but their concern hung heavy in the air. Andre approached again. What did he say? Jordan shook his head. Just business things. Lila squinted. That's a lie. Maybe, Jordan admitted softly. Maya touched his arm. You shouldn't have to balance genius and survival. Jordan forced a steadier breath. Let's get to work. We still have a company to run. But even as he said it, the echo of the lobby confrontation lingered. Halden's voice pressing into his memory, the word loiterer sticking like a bruise. Upstairs. Jordan belonged. Everyone here knew it. Everyone except the man downstairs who thought he could decide otherwise. Officer Brent Halden sat at his desk with the slow irritation of a man convinced the world was shifting unfairly beneath him. The precinct buzzed with morning chatter, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, officers exchanging weekend stories, but Halden blocked all of it out. His focus rested entirely on the blank incident report form glowing on his screen. He cracked his knuckles. If that kid thought he could embarrass him in front of the building manager, he was mistaken. Halden typed. Subject was observed lingering near restricted access. Behavior, suspicious, evasive, uncooperative. He paused. Evasive. The teen had answered every question. But Halden felt the word fit the vibe. He continued typing anyway. A shadow crossed his desk. Morning, Brent. Officer Jace Morales, younger by a decade and still optimistic enough to believe reports should reflect reality, held a cup of burnt precinct coffee. Heard you had something happen at the TechRise building again. Halden grunted. Some kid trying to slip in. Same kid as last time. Morales asked, leaning slightly. Halden stiffened. Yeah. Morales frowned. Thought building management cleared him. They say a lot of things. Halden clicked a little harder than necessary. I know suspicious behavior when I see it. Morales hesitated. Suspicious, how? Just was, Halden snapped. Loitering. Card not working. Could have been anyone trying to access offices they shouldn't. But didn't someone from upstairs call his name? Morales asked quietly. Halden's jaw tightened. People say things. Doesn't mean they're true. Morales studied him a moment. Just make sure the report's accurate, Brent. IA's been strict lately. Halden glared. Don't lecture me. Morales raised both hands. Not lecturing. Just reminding you. He walked away, leaving Halden simmering, the cursor blinking judgment at him. He added another line anyway. Subject became argumentative and refused to provide proof of authorized access. That wasn't entirely true. But Halden remembered the look in the teen's eyes. Steady, calm, not intimidated. It irked him. People were supposed to defer to officers. That was the order of things. He added, recommend monitoring subject until verification is complete. Satisfied, he hit submit. Upstairs, Jordan opened his laptop to find an email with the subject line. Request for verification of tenant access. His stomach dropped. Already, he whispered. Maya leaned over from the next desk. What's wrong? Jordan turned the screen toward her. Her expression hardened instantly. You're kidding, she said. This fast? Jordan scrolled. The message from building management was sterile, clipped, too formal for something that should have just been a phone call. Due to a security report filed this morning, please provide additional documentation confirming your right to access floor 32. Maya swore under her breath. This is Halden. He must have filed something. Jordan rubbed his forehead. Of course he did. Andre overheard and rolled his chair closer. He filed a report. About what? You trying to go to work? Jordan didn't answer. He didn't need to. Andre continued, you should seriously get legal involved. Jordan shook his head. I don't want this to escalate. It already is, Maya snapped softly. He knew she was right. Still, the thought of submitting documents, again, to prove he belonged in a building where his company paid top-tier rent felt humiliating. As if legitimacy were something he needed to keep earning every morning. Jordan's phone buzzed. A voice message from building security. He pressed play. Hi, Mr. Pierce. We received a concern from Officer Halden regarding your presence this morning. Please confirm your tenancy status at your earliest convenience. Jordan ended the message and dropped the phone on his desk, sitting back in his chair. Maya placed a steadying hand on his arm. You good? No, Jordan said quietly. I feel tired. And it's not even noon. Meanwhile, in the building's management office, Kellum read Halden's report with a deepening frown. He knew Jordan. Quiet, respectful, barely noticeable except for the rapid growth of his company. The report felt exaggerated. But Halden had influence. His presence kept certain tenants calm. Complaints about him rarely stuck. Kellum sighed, forwarding the email to upper management. Just following procedure, he muttered, though it tasted like an excuse. Jordan tried to focus on code review, but the lines blurred. Every few minutes, his mind replayed Halden's smirk, the way he'd spoken, like Jordan's existence was an inconvenience. Andre returned with a cup of herbal tea. Drink, he said. Jordan blinked. This isn't coffee. No, Andre replied firmly. It's tea. Because you're shaking. Jordan looked down. His hands were trembling slightly around the keyboard. I'm fine, he insisted. You're human, Andre corrected. Big difference. Jordan sighed. This keeps happening, man. Every time I think things are getting better, something rips me right back into reality. Andre lowered his voice. You've built something incredible. That threatens people who can't imagine someone like you in charge. Jordan met his gaze. That's the problem, right? They can't imagine it. So they try to correct the picture. Andre nodded gently. But you're the one holding the camera. Jordan managed a faint, grateful smile. He breathed deeply and opened a new email draft addressing building management. He attached incorporation documents, lease agreements, his CEO identification, things he shouldn't have to send again. As he typed, a quiet anger settled beneath his ribs, not explosive, but steady. Heavy. The kind you can build something from. Downstairs, Halden believed he'd won a small battle. He had no idea a much larger war was forming, quietly, deliberately, in the space above him, the one Jordan owned. Jordan stepped out into the afternoon light, the city buzzing around him. Horns low in the distance, sunlight bouncing off car roofs, the faint smell of roasted peanuts drifting from a street cart nearby. He'd forced himself to leave the office for lunch, partly because he needed air, partly because Maya insisted he shouldn't hide upstairs. Existing isn't loitering, she had said. Go breathe like the rest of us. He almost believed her, until he saw the patrol cruiser parked beside the curb. Halden leaned against the hood, arms crossed, sunglasses catching the glare. As Jordan approached, the officer straightened, like a hunter spotting movement. You again, Halden said. Jordan slowed. I'm going to lunch. Funny, Halden replied. Looked like you were casing the street. Jordan blinked. It's a street. Halden stepped forward. ID. Jordan exhaled. You saw my keycard this morning. That wasn't ID. Jordan's pulse spiked. People on the sidewalk were beginning to notice, heads turning, steps slowing. Why are you doing this? Jordan asked softly. Procedure, Halden answered. Unless you're refusing. Jordan swallowed. I'm not refusing. Then show me. Hands trembling, Jordan reached into his wallet and pulled out his driver's license. Halden snatched it, looked it over with exaggerated suspicion, then narrowed his eyes. Pierce, he muttered. That startup name. You really expect me to believe you run something like that? Jordan fought the urge to step back. Believe what you want. It's still true. A woman nearby paused, holding her grocery bag mid-step. Is everything okay? Halden shot her a glare. Move along. She didn't. He didn't do anything. Halden's voice hardened. I said move along unless you want to be cited for obstruction. People were gathering now, half pretending not to stare, half openly watching. Jordan's throat tightened. Heat rose in his chest, not anger exactly but shame, an old familiar burn he couldn't control. His fingers curled around the strap of his bag. Halden held the license between two fingers. You live in this neighborhood? Jordan nodded. Uh-huh. Halden flipped the ID over. And you work upstairs? I already told you, yes. Yet building management needed verification. Halden smirked. Makes you wonder why. Jordan clenched his teeth. You filed that report. You know why. Halden shrugged. I observe. I report. It's my job. Jordan resisted the urge to look away. Your job isn't to harass me. A few bystanders murmured. Halden's jaw twitched. Watch your tone. Jordan breathed deeply. I'm watching it. The woman from earlier raised her phone discreetly, recording now. Jordan saw it, then saw two others do the same. Halden noticed too. His posture stiffened. This interaction is being recorded, the woman said calmly. Halden lifted his chin. I don't mind, he replied, but a crack had formed in his confidence. Officer of the law, doing my duty. He handed Jordan's ID back with a flick, as if touching it bothered him. Jordan took it carefully. Are we done? For now, Halden said. But if I see you hanging around again. I'm going to lunch, Jordan interrupted, voice breaking slightly. Not hanging around. Halden stared at him for several seconds longer, calculating something Jordan couldn't read. Finally he stepped back, tapping the hood of the cruiser. Watch yourself, he muttered. Jordan didn't respond. He turned and walked down the street, legs stiff, chest tight, every step an effort not to crumble. The murmuring crowd slowly dispersed. A hand touched his arm, gentle but grounding. It was the woman who recorded. Hey, she said softly. Are you all right? Jordan nodded, though tears stung the corners of his eyes. Yes, thank you. I'll send you the video if you want it, she offered. People like him get away with too much. Jordan swallowed hard. I appreciate that. She scribbled her number on a receipt and handed it to him. Stay safe, okay? He nodded again, unable to speak. When she walked away, Jordan stood still for a moment, pressing the heel of his hand against his forehead. His breath shook. He felt exposed, small, cracked open in public. He forced himself forward. Lunch tasted like nothing. When he returned upstairs, Andre saw his face before Jordan spoke a word. "What happened?" Andre asked. Jordan set his untouched lunch on the table. "He stopped me again. On the street." Maya's expression hardened instantly. "That's it. This isn't random anymore." Jordan sank into a chair. "Everything feels like it's slipping." Maya knelt beside him. "No. He's trying to make you feel small. But you're not. And we're not letting him decide your reality." Jordan closed his eyes, breathing slowly. But deep inside, he felt the truth. Lines had been drawn, publicly, violently, quietly, and crossing them would no longer be simple. Jordan stood outside the glass conference room, palms pressed lightly against the cool metal frame. Inside, the board members settled into leather chairs, flipping through briefing packets, murmuring in clipped corporate tones. Normally, this meeting energized him, the chance to showcase progress, to prove the company's direction was strong. Today, his chest felt tight, as though every breath needed permission. Maya approached quietly. "You've got this," she whispered. Jordan nodded, but his throat felt dry. "Let's hope." She squeezed his shoulder, then took her seat at the side of the room as CTO. Jordan stepped in, shoulders squared though he felt anything but steady. Mr. Keene, seated at the center of the long table, looked up. "Jordan," he said with a polite nod. "We're ready when you are." Jordan swallowed, plugged his laptop into the projector, and began. "Today I'm presenting our adaptive learning engine," he said. "We've improved accuracy by 32%, and latency is down significantly." He clicked to the next slide, voice steady but quieter than usual. Board member Elena Ruiz raised a hand gently. "We'll save questions for the end. Continue." Jordan nodded gratefully and moved on, walking through performance graphs, integration opportunities, and licensing strategies. He explained the roadmap, highlighted early partnerships, and detailed financial projections. His knowledge flowed effortlessly. He knew this technology better than anyone alive, but his hands trembled, barely visible unless someone was looking closely. Maya noticed. Her brows pulled slightly together in worry. When he finished, Jordan exhaled shakily. "That concludes the update." The board murmured approval. Keene leaned forward. "Strong presentation," he said. "Your numbers remain impressive." Elena nodded. "The model improvements are significant. Well done." Jordan allowed himself a small breath of relief. But then Keene cleared his throat. "Before we dismiss," he said, "I'd like a moment with Jordan privately." Jordan froze. The other board members exchanged glances but began gathering their things. Maya hesitated, her gaze flicking between them. "It's fine," Jordan whispered to her. She didn't look convinced, but she stepped out. When the room emptied, Keene folded his hands neatly. "Jordan," he began, "your leadership is critical to this company's success. But I've received communications from building management regarding incidents." Jordan's stomach clenched. "Yes, sir." Keene studied him carefully. "I understand these matters are stressful. However, the board has concerns about potential instability." Jordan blinked. "Instability? From what exactly?" "From unwanted attention," Keene said calmly. "Neighbors talking, tenants uncomfortable, a police officer filing observations," he sighed. "Optics matter. Especially for a company at your stage." Jordan's voice tightened. "So my being harassed is a liability?" "That's not what I said." "It's what it sounds like." Keene clasped his hands behind his chair. "We need steady leadership. Investors fear distraction. If these interactions escalate—" "I didn't escalate anything," Jordan said, heat rising in his chest. Keene raised a brow. "No one is accusing you. But you must understand the environment. The world already questions young CEOs. Add complicated encounters with authority, and some may feel uneasy." Jordan felt something crack inside him. Quiet, painful. "Complicated encounters," he repeated softly, "is one way to phrase it." Keane softened his tone. I'm advising caution. Nothing more. Keep your head down. Focus on the work. Avoid further conflict. Jordan stared at the table. So pretend it isn't happening. Pretend nothing jeopardizes the company, Keane corrected. You carry more weight than you realize. Jordan's jaw tightened. I'm trying. I know you are. Keane stood. Just be aware of how quickly narratives form. Jordan remained still, pulse loud in his ears. Keane's concern wasn't for Jordan, only for the company, the investments, the image. When the door opened again, Maya stepped inside cautiously. Everything okay? Jordan forced a smile that didn't touch his eyes. Fine. Keane nodded to both of them. Good work today. Then he left the room. As soon as the door shut, Maya knelt beside Jordan. What did he say? Jordan stared ahead, voice low. That I need to be careful. That my existence is destabilizing. Maya's expression darkened. Jordan. I know, he whispered. I know. He felt the weight settle heavier, pressing into his shoulders, into his ribs. The message was clear. Succeed, but quietly. Lead, but invisibly. Endure, but don't disturb anyone. Jordan stood slowly, gathering his laptop. Come on, he said softly. We have work to do. But for the first time, his success felt fragile, as if one officer's lie, one wrong narrative, could unravel everything he had built. Jordan woke on Tuesday with the heaviness of someone who hadn't truly slept. His phone buzzed repeatedly on the nightstand. Notifications, missed calls, messages from numbers he didn't recognize. He rubbed his eyes, reached for the device, and blinked at the screen. Is this you? Sending support. Let us know if you need witnesses. The video is circulating. Jordan's stomach dropped. He opened one message with a link. The video from the woman on the street, Halden demanding ID, dismissing Jordan's explanations, the crowd murmuring, had spread across a neighborhood group chat, then tenant circles, then social media. It wasn't viral, but it was visible, enough to stir conversations. His chest tightened. He wasn't ready for this. At the office, he found his team gathered around the big monitor, their faces a mix of anger and concern. The video looped silently. Andre turned when he noticed Jordan. We didn't share it, he said quickly. Someone else did. Jordan exhaled slowly. I know. Lila ran a hand through her braids. People are commenting about Halden's behavior. Tenants are furious. This isn't small anymore. Jordan sat heavily in a chair. I didn't want attention. You didn't choose it, Maya said. But now that it's here, we decide what to do with it. Jordan hugged his arms around himself. Keane told me to avoid conflict. Andre frowned. Conflict avoided you. No. It found you. Maya kneeled beside him, voice steady. Look at me. You don't owe silence to anyone. Not the board. Not the building. Not the officer who's been profiling you. Jordan swallowed. I just don't want this to define me. It won't, she said. But it might protect someone else. Before Jordan could reply, his phone buzzed again, this time with a call from an unknown number. He hesitated. Then answered. Mr. Pierce? A woman's voice asked. This is Lena Grant from City Watch News. I'd like to speak with you regarding footage of a police interaction yesterday. Would you be willing to comment? Jordan froze. Maya mouthed silently. Do not say yes. Jordan cleared his throat. I'm not looking for media attention. I understand, Lena said. But you were stopped twice in one morning without cause. The public deserves transparency. Your story could highlight a systemic issue. Jordan pressed a hand to his forehead. I'll think about it. Would you consider a short, controlled interview? Nothing sensational. Jordan looked at Maya, who shook her head firmly. No commitments, he said. I'll be in touch. He hung up. Absolutely not, Maya said. You're not letting a reporter build a career off your trauma. I know, Jordan whispered. I wasn't going to say yes. But you didn't say no, Andre pointed out gently. Jordan sighed. Because part of me wonders if silence is cowardice. Maya slid into the chair beside him. Silence isn't cowardice. Silence is protection. And right now, you're allowed to protect yourself. Jordan rested his elbows on his knees. Still, this can't keep happening. Not to me, not to anyone like me. Lila nodded quietly. That's what the reporter meant. It's bigger than you. Jordan looked at the looping video again. Halden's posture, the subtle aggression, the way he handled Jordan's ID like contamination. He exhaled. Fine. I'll release a statement. Not an interview. Just something controlled. From me, not through a news filter. Maya squeezed his shoulder. That's reasonable. Andre smiled faintly. And powerful. Jordan drafted a message for the tenant's newsletter and posted it to his startup's internal channel. It was simple, clear, and painfully honest. Yesterday, I experienced repeated questioning by an officer while attempting to access my workplace and while walking on a public sidewalk. While I understand the importance of safety, I also understand the pattern many of us face when our belonging is constantly challenged. I hope this begins a conversation about how authority interacts with community members, especially in professional spaces. He sat back. It wasn't inflammatory. It wasn't dramatic. But it was truth. Downstairs at the precinct, Halden sat stiffly at his desk, reviewing footage someone had forwarded him anonymously. His jaw tightened. He muttered, "Who the hell recorded this?" Morales approached cautiously. "It's all over tenant networks. People are asking questions." Halden glared. "About what?" "I did my job." "Some are saying you targeted him," Morales said carefully. Halden's eyes narrowed. "They always take the kid's side." "He's not a kid," Morales replied. "He's the tenant upstairs. The CEO." Halden slammed a drawer shut. "I don't care who he is. He was suspicious." Morales exhaled. "IA opened a preliminary review. Just letting you know." Halden froze. "What?" he snapped. "Protocol," Morales said. "When there's video. When people complain." Halden's anger flickered into something else, fear disguised as indignation. He's turning this into a witch hunt. Morales shook his head. "No. The community is responding. There's a difference." Halden didn't hear him. Or didn't want to. He turned back to his screen, the video replaying with every blink, every angle showing the thing Halden refused to admit. It looked bad. It sounded worse. And it was spreading. Upstairs, Jordan refreshed the tenant bulletin. Comments were already appearing. "Thank you for speaking up." This isn't the first time Halden overstepped. "We stand with you." Jordan breathed out slowly. For the first time in days, something inside him shifted. Not relief, not victory, but recognition. People were watching. And this time, they weren't looking away. Jordan sat at his desk, trying to focus on the code review in front of him, but his eyes kept drifting to the tenant bulletin on his second monitor. Comments were piling up faster than he could read them, some supportive, some shocked, others describing their own uneasy encounters with Halden. Then a new post appeared. A tenant named Reeves wrote, "This might matter. Posting anonymously for safety. I found an email in the building's shared logs, sent by Officer Halden last month. He asked management to monitor individuals matching Pierce's description. I think people deserve to know." Jordan froze. Maya saw his expression and rushed over. "What? What happened?" He turned the screen toward her. She read the message and whispered, "Oh my God." Andre wheeled closer. "He put you on a watch list. For existing." Jordan's breath quickened. This can't be real. But a file attachment followed. A screenshot. An actual email. Particularly vigilant around individuals matching this description until authorization is confirmed. Jordan felt his stomach twist. "He sent this before he even confronted me in the lobby." "That means he targeted you," Maya said, voice trembling with anger. Not because of behavior. Because of who you are. Andre muttered, "This is beyond profiling. This is premeditated harassment." Jordan swallowed hard, each breath shallower than the last. The text blurred. Heat crawled up his neck. He could feel his pulse pounding in his ears. Maya's tone shifted instantly. "Jordan. Hey. Look at me." "I'm fine," he whispered. "You're not." Andre stood. "You're breathing too fast." Jordan tried inhaling through his nose, but his chest constricted instead. His vision tightened. Tunneling. He gripped the edge of his desk. "I need a second," he managed. Maya guided him gently out of his chair. "Sit on the floor. Back against the wall. Come on." He slid down the wall, knees bent, elbows on them, fingers pressed to his temples. The world felt too loud. Too close. Andre crouched in front of him. "You're safe. You're here. You're with us." Lila rushed over with a water bottle. "Jordan, sweetheart, take a sip. Slow breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth." Jordan tried, shaking violently. Maya placed a hand on his back. "This isn't weakness. This is trauma talking." Jordan squeezed his eyes shut. "I shouldn't be falling apart over an email." "No," Maya said firmly. "You're falling apart because someone in authority has been quietly treating you like a threat. That does something to a person." Jordan's breath hitched. "I worked so hard to be beyond this. To be more than what they assume." "You are beyond it," Andre said. "But you're still human." Minutes passed, slow, painful, grounding. Eventually his breathing steadied. His hands stopped shaking first, then his shoulders lowered. Jordan wiped his face. "I'm sorry." Lila frowned. "Don't apologize." He leaned his head back against the wall. "I didn't want my team to see me like that." Maya sat beside him. "Your team saw you being targeted for months. We're not judging you. We're supporting you." Jordan nodded weakly. Andre stood and exhaled. "So what now? We can't ignore leaked emails." Before Jordan could answer, a notification pinged on his computer. Maya grabbed the mouse. Her eyes widened. "Internal Affairs sent you a formal request for a statement." Jordan tensed. "About Halden?" "Yes," she said. "Someone filed a complaint using the video as evidence. I now needs your side." Jordan pushed himself upright slowly. "I knew this was coming." Andre looked at him cautiously. "You don't have to do this alone." "I know," Jordan said quietly. "But if I stay silent now, what does that say? That what he did was acceptable? That it didn't matter enough to respond?" Maya nodded. "If you participate, do it on your terms." Jordan walked to his desk, steadier than before. His phone buzzed again, another tenant message. "If you need witnesses, I'm available. I saw the officer confront you outside. Whatever you need." Jordan read them slowly. His pulse steadied with each line. He looked up at his team. "I'll give IA my statement." Maya nodded. "Good. And we'll prep everything with you." Jordan hesitated. "But before anything else, I need to step outside. Clear my head." Andre half rose. "Want company?" "No," Jordan said gently. "Just a quiet minute." He walked to the office entrance. But when someone knocked on the door, 3 sharp raps, Jordan flinched violently, grabbing the doorframe as if expecting Halden again. Maya rushed to him. It's okay, just a delivery." Jordan forced a weak laugh, but his hands trembled once more. Lila whispered, "This is what people don't see. The aftermath." Jordan swallowed. "I hate that he can do this to me without even being here." Maya steadied him by the shoulders. "He won't have this power forever. Things are cracking around him. You're not the one falling apart, he is." Jordan breathed in, slow, controlled. For the first time, he believed her. The building's conference hall smelled faintly of disinfectant and old carpet, a sterile room meant for quarterly updates, not conflict. Chairs lined the oval table. A small projector hummed. Several tenants murmured quietly among themselves, some casting sympathetic glances toward Jordan as he entered. Jordan felt the tension in his ribs with every step. He wasn't here to fight, but he also wasn't here to shrink. Maya walked beside him, chin high. Andre followed with his laptop. Lila squeezed Jordan's hand as she passed him and took a seat along the wall. Then the door opened again. Officer Brent Halden stepped in. His boots thudded across the floor, his uniform crisp, his expression strained and defensive. He scanned the room as if expecting applause or allegiance. When his gaze landed on Jordan, confusion flickered, quickly replaced by irritation. Building management gathered at the far end of the table. Kellum, pale and jittery, avoided eye contact. An internal affairs liaison, a calm woman in a tailored blazer, sat near the projector, tapping her pen against a notepad. "Let's begin," she said evenly. "Thank you all for attending this mandatory review regarding tenant-police interactions." Halden straightened. "I'd like to clarify that I acted according to procedure." "You'll have your turn, Officer Halden," the liaison interrupted gently. "Today we will hear from all parties involved." Halden's jaw flexed, but he Saturday. The liaison gestured toward the screen. "Before we start, we want to ensure everyone understands the roles in this building and who is responsible for what." She clicked a remote. The projector lit up, displaying a slide Jordan didn't know she planned to show. At the top, in bold letters, Pierce Labs, founded by Jordan A. Pierce, CEO and owner, 32nd floor. Halden stared at the slide, his face tightening, disbelief widening his eyes. "What?" The liaison continued calmly. "This is Mr. Pierce. The individual you confronted twice. The tenant you questioned. The owner of one of the building's anchor companies." A slow ripple of whispers circled the tenants. Jordan swallowed, forcing his voice steady. "I tried to tell you I worked upstairs." Halden's voice cracked with disbelief. "You're the CEO. You're him." Jordan nodded once. Halden leaned back as if the floor tilted. "That's impossible." He stopped himself, but the room heard the unfinished sentence anyway. The liaison raised an eyebrow. "Officer Halden, please refrain from commentary until your turn." Maya spoke up. "He didn't believe Jordan because he didn't want to. That's the issue." Jordan exhaled slowly. "I didn't know about the email until yesterday. The one where you asked management to monitor people who looked like me." Kellum flinched. Halden glared. "That's being taken out of context." The liaison cut in. "We reviewed the email. It specifically describes Mr. Pierce's age, build, and race." The room fell silent again, tight and disbelieving. Halden looked around as if searching for allies. Tenants stared back coldly. "I was protecting the building," he insisted. "I've seen suspicious people before." "Minding my business on a sidewalk isn't suspicious," Jordan replied softly but firmly. Halden's voice sharpened. "Your card didn't work. And you looked." Jordan held his gaze. "I looked like someone you decided didn't belong." Maya nodded. "That's the truth you've been avoiding." The liaison folded her hands. "Officer Halden, your report contained inconsistencies. Several claims were contradicted by video." Halden swallowed. "People were recording me unfairly." "No," the liaison answered. "They were recording because they were concerned." A tenant raised a hand hesitantly. "We've seen him do this before," she said, gesturing toward Halden. "Not just with Jordan. He questions certain people more." Another tenant added, "We never complained because we didn't want trouble. But now, this isn't okay." Halden's posture tightened until he looked carved from stone. The liaison closed her folder. "Mr. Pierce, thank you for your cooperation. Your written statement was clear and consistent with all available evidence. Officer Halden, your actions are now under formal review. Further disciplinary measures will follow pending investigation." Halden stared at Jordan, something like accusation flickering behind his eyes, anger, humiliation, disbelief welded into one expression. Jordan didn't look away. For the first time, Halden was being held accountable, not by force, not by outrage, but by truth laid bare in a room full of witnesses. And truth was something he could no longer outrun. The next morning, Jordan arrived at the building earlier than usual. The lobby felt different, not safer, not entirely welcoming, but aware. Tenants glanced up from their phones as he passed, some offering small nods of solidarity, others whispering quietly. For once, Jordan didn't shrink from the attention. He met their gazes, acknowledging each subtle show of support. The security desk attendant, who usually barely noticed him, straightened when Jordan approached. "Good morning, Mr. Pierce," she said, with a respect that felt different from before, not performative, but intentional. Jordan blinked. "Good morning." She hesitated. "If there's anything you need today, just let us know." He nodded gently. "Thank you." Upstairs, Maya and Andre were already in the office. They stood as Jordan entered, reading the expression on his face like a weather report. "Long night?" Maya asked softly. Jordan set his bag down. "Not great. Not terrible." Andre glanced at his laptop. "IA sent an update this morning." Jordan inhaled. "Okay. Tell me." Andre turned the screen. "Officer Halden is suspended pending investigation. Mandatory bias training. Restricted from building patrol duties until the review concludes." Jordan leaned back, exhaling. His chest loosened a fraction. "That's something," Maya said carefully. "Not justice. But something." Jordan nodded slowly. "Yeah, something." But he didn't smile. Not fully. Andre closed the laptop. "You're allowed to feel conflicted." Jordan rubbed his palms together. "Part of me is relieved. Part of me wonders what he's feeling right now." Maya frowned. "Why does that matter?" "I don't know," Jordan whispered. "I guess. I keep thinking about the look on his face during the meeting. Like everything he believed about the world cracked for a second." "And?" Maya asked. "And part of me doesn't want anyone to feel that kind of humiliation," Jordan said quietly. "Not even him." Maya softened. "That's empathy. Not weakness." Jordan looked down. "But I'm also angry." "Both can be true," Andre said. "Justice doesn't require hate." Jordan nodded again, the tension in his shoulders shifting. Later that afternoon, Jordan received an email from someone unexpected. Subject: regarding yesterday's hearing from Officer Jace Morales. Jordan hesitated before opening it. "Mr. Pierce, I wanted to apologize for not stepping in sooner. I witnessed some of Officer Halden's behavior and should have raised concerns earlier. You deserved better than silence. If you need a statement for IA, I'm willing to provide one." Jordan read the message twice. Silence from bystanders had always been part of the hurt, quiet complicity. Seeing someone acknowledge it, even after the fact, tugged at something deep inside him. He forwarded the email to Maya with a simple line. "This means more than it should." She replied instantly. "It means people are learning. That matters." Toward evening, Jordan stood alone by the large office window, watching the city move underneath him. Cars threading through intersections, people hurrying across crosswalks, lights flickering on in surrounding towers. He thought about the boy he used to be, the one who avoided conflict, who stayed silent to stay safe, who laughed awkwardly when adults questioned whether he belonged in nice neighborhoods. He thought about the man who now led a team, built technology, hired staff older than him, negotiated with investors, and still found his identity questioned in a lobby he paid rent for. The hurt was still there. Raw. Deep. But something else had rooted itself beside the pain. Clarity. A soft knock pulled him from his thoughts. Maya stepped in. "You okay?" she asked. Jordan shrugged lightly. "Define okay." She joined him at the window. "IA won't solve everything. But it creates a record. It forces accountability. It prevents ignoring." Jordan nodded. "I get that." They stood silently for a moment. "You know," Maya said softly, "you weren't supposed to carry this alone. Not then. Not now." Jordan swallowed. I didn't want to burden the team. You're not a burden, she said firmly. You're the reason we're all here. Jordan looked at her, a faint but real smile touching his lips. Thank you. She nudged his shoulder. Get some rest tonight. You've got a company to run tomorrow. He laughed quietly. Right. Back to normal. Maya shook her head gently. No, Jordan. Not normal. Better. As he packed his bag and headed toward the elevator, Jordan paused. The lobby felt different now, not because Halden wasn't there, but because Jordan no longer walked through it quietly. His story had surfaced. Eyes had opened. Systems had stirred. Accountability hadn't arrived with sirens or vengeance. It had arrived slowly. Imperfectly. But it had arrived. And Jordan was still standing. The next morning, sunlight streamed between the high-rise buildings like warm ribbons, cutting through the glass facade of the TechRise Tower. Jordan stepped into the lobby with measured breaths, his laptop bag slung over his shoulder. He half expected to feel the dread that had wound itself around his ribs all week, but instead, he felt steady. Not unhurt. Not healed. But steady. The lobby attendant waved him through with a respectful nod. Good morning, Mr. Pierce. He nodded back. Morning. His keycard scanned instantly. Green. A small thing, but the soft chime felt symbolic. As he approached the elevator, tenants stepped aside politely, offering smiles, acknowledgements. One man from the 14th floor said, Saw your statement. Thanks for speaking up. A woman added, If you need community support, we're here. Jordan's throat tightened, but he kept his voice even. Thank you. That means a lot. He stepped into the elevator. As the doors slid shut, he caught his reflection in the mirrored panel. Tired eyes, yes, but something sharper beneath them. Something resilient. The elevator hummed upward. Floor 20. Floor 25. Floor 30. By the time it reached the 32nd floor, Jordan felt the tension releasing from him in layers. Inside the office, the team was already gathered. Not working yet. Waiting. Morning, boss, Andre said, but his tone held more warmth than formality. Jordan placed his bag down. Morning. Lila stepped forward first. We saw IA's final notice. Jordan nodded. I did too. Halden's suspension was extended indefinitely, pending a deeper investigation. His patrol privileges were revoked, and he was removed from duties involving public interaction. It wasn't a dramatic takedown, it was slow, procedural accountability. But it mattered. Jordan took a breath. Before we start the day, I want to talk. The team settled into chairs and couches around him, forming a quiet semicircle. Jordan began softly. This week has been heavy. For me. For all of us. He paused. I've spent my whole life trying to stay out of the spotlight unless it was about the work. I don't like attention, not this kind. But I realized something. He looked at each of them. Silence doesn't keep you safe. It just keeps you isolated. Andre nodded faintly. Jordan continued, voice steadier. I didn't want to be defined by someone else's assumptions. Or their reports. Or their prejudice. And I won't be. But speaking up, letting the truth be seen, changed something. Not just for me. For this building. For every kid who gets told they don't belong somewhere they've earned. His voice thickened slightly. And I want you all to know I couldn't have done any of this without you. Lila brushed a tear from her cheek. We're proud of you, Jordan. Maya stepped forward. Say the rest, she urged gently. Jordan exhaled. I'm still scared sometimes. I'm still angry. But I'm here. I'm leading. And I'm not going anywhere. A soft ripple of applause filled the room, not loud, but affirming. All right, Jordan said with a small smile. Let's get back to building world-changing software. Work resumed with a renewed sense of purpose. Later that afternoon, a journalist contacted Jordan again, this time requesting a wider interview. Jordan declined politely. He didn't need more spotlight. The truth had already been visible enough to make an impact. Instead, He focused on leading the product sprint, reviewing interface adjustments, and troubleshooting an AI model glitch. Ordinary work, but grounding. As the day wound down, Jordan walked the team through the final build demo. When it ended, Andre whistled. "We're ready for launch next week." "You did it, boss." "We did it," Jordan corrected. Before leaving the office, Jordan paused by the window again. Sunlight reflected across the skyline, and cars moved like quiet currents far below. His thoughts drifted to Halden, not with hatred, but with clarity. That man had carried assumptions that had gone unchallenged for years. Now those assumptions had consequences. Not because Jordan fought with fists or anger, but because truth was undeniable when witnessed openly. Jordan whispered to himself, walking away is not the same as being silent. Evening settled over the city by the time Jordan returned to the lobby. The space was calm, peaceful. A new security officer, young, polite, stood at the desk and offered a respectful nod. Jordan hesitated, then walked toward him. "Hi," Jordan said softly. The officer straightened. "Mr. Pierce. Pleasure to meet you. I just transferred here. Heard you run one of the most impressive startups in the building." Jordan blinked, then smiled. "Thank you. I hope your time here goes well." "Likewise, sir." "Sir." Jordan had never heard Halden use the word. He stepped back toward the elevator. The air in the lobby felt different, not because prejudice had disappeared, but because its power had been challenged. Because a system had been forced to reckon with itself. Because he wasn't invisible anymore. The elevator chimed. Jordan stepped inside. As the doors began to close, and the city lights flickered in streaks behind him, he felt something anchor in his chest. He belonged here. He always had. And no one, not an officer, not a report, not an assumption, would rewrite that truth again. When the doors sealed shut, Jordan let out a steady breath. Upstairs waited a future he had built. A future no one could take from him.